time is no longer near. It is in fact here. The host is seated with Voxcaster prepped. The guests are ready with data slates and codexes in hand. Recorded on an undisclosed planet just outside the heart of the Imperium. Lock and load your bolters and sharpen your choppas. Stratagem is about to begin.
Gentlemen, I hope you are prepared to exercise your minds with this week's special episode of Stratagem. I'm your host, Andrew Freeman, and I've got some strategy experts with me breaking down the new Space Marine Codex, so you can go out and destroy and conquer friends or foes. On a legal note, none of the things said in this show represent Games Workshop or any of its affiliated companies. This show is in no way affiliated or owned by Games Workshop. This show is created by three guys in a small broom closet that enjoy nerding out to OP formations that put so much cheese on the board, it makes grown men lactate. I got you guys there, didn't I? You thought I was going to say cry. Ha! Today I have with me Ben and Josh.
Hey.
Today we are doing a special roundtable discussion of newly released codex for the Space Marines. Ben, you haven't been on the show yet. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I've been playing 40k for almost 23 years now. Most of the time I've been doing Space Marines or Tyranids, so I know in general what I'm talking about.
Well, that's good. And Josh is back with us. He was doing we did the Dark Eldar episode together. Josh is a producer for the show, and he will be doing some work for us. We got some things going on the grill right now. We're thinking things over.
Irons in the fire.
That's right, irons in the fire. And Ben is a new producer for the show and is our R&D specialist. Welcome to the team, Ben.
Glad to be here.
All right, let's get into it.
Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Don't wanna be a richer man. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes.
All right, guys. New codex, very exciting. The first codex that they've brought out for 8th edition. Let's go over changes. What's going on? What's new? Ben, what big point changes really grabbed your attention in this new codex?
Well, for me personally, it was the switch from 20 points for a Power Fist to 12. It's a very small change, but it's going to bring a lot of love to Terminators who really need it. Some of the other things that stood out to me were artillery units went down, while close-range combat units usually went up.
What new exciting models or rules are going on?
Well, I'm super happy with the new Primaris line, especially their heavy support and elite section. Both Hellblasters and Aggressors look like they're going to be a lot of fun, with the ability to change out weapons for whatever situation you need. They're all a little slow, but they can put out a lot of punishment.
On that same note, I actually really like Reavers because they take care of that slow part by being able to come on the board from the side or scale buildings without using extra movement. So they give a lot of... Those Reavers are giving the Primaris line some much-needed mobility.
It's one of the things I really like about this line. It embodies Space Marines in general, in my opinion. If you want to do range combat, you can do range combat. If you want to do close combat, you can be pretty dangerous there as well.
So there is a point to the grappling hooks. That's good to know. As an orc player, I just thought they were pretty pieces to put on my orcs. Why not have some boys with some grappling hooks? So, sweet models out there. What else about the Primaris? We haven't really talked about the Primaris too much. What else about the Primaris is really making you happy, Ben?
Well, their new range of characters provides some interesting points. They're beautiful models, but rules-wise, I'm actually going to lean towards most of the original Space Marines for the commanders. Their HQs have a lot more options, and unfortunately the Primaris lines being new is somewhat limited in war gear.
Now, let's talk about what's missing in this codex. What did you notice was sort of like, was there before but is now gone?
With this edition, GW has done a lot of house cleaning, especially with this codex. Models that have a whole range but aren't produced anymore or only sold on back order, like the Legion and the Dam, they're removed. As well as models that GW never actually created in the first place, such as Tech Marine on a bike, conversion beams, librarians on a bike, that kind of thing. There are some old, out-of-print models for those, but they've been removed from the codex.
With the Legion of the Damned, do you think somehow in the fluff they're going to just bring out their own codex?
Well, we can always hope, but I've been waiting for Sisters of Battle for quite some time, and we still don't see anything in plastic.
You jinxed it. That's another year.
Yep, it's gone. I'm sorry. They heard
What?
you. The GW gods have heard you, and they said, oh, you think Sisters are coming. Let's push that to 2020. Let's talk about relics. What cool relics are in this codex?
The major change to relics from previous editions to this editions is that they aren't separate pieces of war gear anymore. They're straight upgrades from current pieces of war gear. They don't cost any points, and you can select who you want to take. Your stratagems allow you to take more relics on different units, but again, you can't mix and match as you used to. The best relic, in my opinion, is the Salamander's Cloak, which gives a +1 toughness to any character that wants it. And in this version of the game, that can be incredible. Put a captain on a bike, he's toughness 5. Give him the cloak, he's toughness 6. Another really fun one is the Teeth of Terra. Now, it's a simple relic, doesn't give a whole lot of fluff or amazing upgrades, but it's a straight upgrade from a regular chainsword, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to use.
I'm a big fan of the Shield Eternal. The 3+ invuln save stacked on top of taking half damage is pretty saucy for those big beefy characters. You're going to get las-cannoned out fewer times.
My only complaint about the Shield of Eternal is that you used to be able to put it on characters that didn't have an invuln save. Librarians and Tech Marines and the like. Now you have to do it with a guy that already has a shield, which to be fair is a lot more balanced.
3-up invuln though, that's really good. Are there any different stratagems in the codex that we haven't seen before?
Well, some things that used to be a given value for points are strategy upgrades, like the change from Captain to Chapter Master. It now costs you 3 CP, instead of being, I think it was a 40-point upgrade in the previous edition.
You get a lot of meat for your command point now. There's a whole book of command point options to help you fight more like you should, as well as give you more tactical flexibility on the field.
A lot of them are very specific to certain situations. You're not going to find very many general ones like in the basic rulebook. The basic rulebook ones are good in any situation, but a few of these are only good when you have a specific combination of events, like having whirlwinds downfield, a land speeder upfield, and multiple units that they can both see.
One stratagem that I feel has a really strong buff to a unit that was already really good is the kill shot stratagem. For 1 command point, if you have 3 predators, predator each within range of 2 other friendly predators, you can add 1 to the wound rolls and damage for all of the predators' attacks that target monsters or vehicles. That makes those las-cannon predators that were already pretty strong incredibly good just by burning 1 command point.
It's almost as if it's too good?
Very potentially. I think
Very
you're gonna
OP.
see this one a lot.
That's awesome. I don't like Predator tanks. I've noticed that a lot more people have them now. Like, points-wise and power-wise, they are definitely something you need to put in your army.
One of the main problems is that implement and not intended to be taken entirely by themselves
Yes, Ben, tell us your beef.
is mobility.
What about mobility? Has it really got you steaming there, Ben?
Well, aside from a single transport, a lot of the Primaris Marines are slow. We have 6 inches, 5 inches. You're not going to see a lot of upfield movement for a lot of heavy support units, and the aggressors show that incredibly well. It's going to be difficult to use these guys well, but when you get them there, they are going to be incredible. With up to 12 shots a pop using bolter stats, these are going to lay waste to Imperial Guard. But getting them to the fight in the first place with an only 18-inch range is going to be tactically difficult.
It's as if GW is trying to sell repulsor tanks. I don't know. What's going on with that?
Well, the repulsor tank is incredible. It's the firepower of multiple Storm Ravens on a Land Raider chassis. It's a beautiful model, too.
Yes, Ben here's a spokesman for GW and just loves the repulsor tank. That sounded like an infomercial for repulsor tanks. What the hell?
Well, when you're the only transport that an army has available, you're going to shine.
Yes, that's why they put so many guns on it.
That's all.
Let's jump into chapter tactics, people. Pew pew!
We're almost out of time, so I will instead ask each candidate to sum up in a single word the best argument for his candidacy. Governor Bush?
Strategery.
All right, Ben, what's going on with chapter tactics?
Chapter tactics are incredibly powerful. So much so that if I were to change one thing in the Codex for balance reasons, it would probably be making chapter tactics cost a CP to use. Now, the conditions for chapter tactics is your entire detachment must be of the same chapter. No more mixing in Inquisitors or Imperial agents of any kind. But when you do, you get some incredible options. In my opinion, the Salamanders really won out on this. Their chapter tactic allows them to make a reroll of a hit and a reroll of a wound for every individual unit. And in this edition, that's every individual data slate, not per model. Now, for tactical Marines, this is nice. If you have a plasma gun or plasma cannon in your squad, you can reroll a critical hit or a critical wound that you really needed to get. But for characters, this is incredible.
Yeah, each character being able to reroll that hit or wound is really strong. I mean, throw that combi plas on them and go to town. Just take care of business.
One model that I think will be able to take advantage of this incredibly is the regular Marine Lieutenant. Now, this is a new addition to the Codex. Previously, we just had Primaris Lieutenants. Now we have regular Lieutenants with all the normal upgrade abilities of a Captain. They can have jump packs, they can have combi weapons, they can mix and match their melee weapons, whatever you want. Deep strike in a Lieutenant, give him Salamander tactics. He can bounce around giving everybody buffs, moving 12 inches of a turn, and blast away with full overcharge and never worry about overheating.
I think I'm a little bigger fan of the Raven Guard chapter tactic. That -1 to being hit if you're over 12 inches away gives an already fairly durable force a massive boost to its durability. You're just not going to take as many hits. I feel it's really much stronger than the Iron Hands. 6 up to mitigate it. A damage is just not as strong as the -1 to hit.
Well, again, that depends on which army you're going to be building for Space Marines. If you have an assault-heavy army, then you probably want the Iron Hands chapter tactic because you're going to be within that 12-inch range. However, I agree, for all shooting and artillery groups, especially Hell Blasters, you're going to want the Raven Guard, as you can comfortably stand back, double tap at 15 inches, and just dodge everything that comes near you.
We talked about winners. Salamanders and Raven Guard, really good. Who are the losers?
I'm afraid that have to be Dorn's sons, the Imperial Fists.
The Protectors of Terra?
Yes, and mostly this is a problem with the loss of power of the Bolter. In the previous edition, Imperial Fists had almost the exact same chapter tactic, the ability to reroll ones with some buffs against for siege warfare. Unfortunately, since Bolters lost that AP 5 and are straight 4-up, 0 AP weapon, you lose some strength here. The ability to reroll them is nice, but you're not going to see them in as mass groups, even in the Imperial Fist army. Imperial Fist players are going to want those special weapons.
All right, Josh, who do you think is a loser for this codex, for chapter tactics?
I think we're going to be seeing a lot fewer White Scars armies on the board, simply because their chapter tactic does not shine